Hello. Today's video we're going to talk about introverted thinking, the cognitive function. So this function tends to work pretty differently than the other thinking function. The one that most people would associate with thinking is extroverted thinking, because that's how most people perceive thinking as being, since it comes out of TE, people who push their thoughts out into the world. Those of us who use the introverted thinking function, which is half the types, maybe not half the population, I don't know, internalize our thoughts. So it's a difference between considering studies, data, sourced information, what is generally accepted as scientifically valid through extroverted thinking, and introverted thinking instead being more your own perception. It's more like your own internal sense of critical thinking. Okay? So if you think about what most people would classify as the core of critical thinking, it is the ability to question assumptions. Instead of just blindly going along, saying, I want to think for myself. Am I saying that people with TE don't think? No, not really. That's not what I'm trying to say. But for the most part, they're going to look something up. That's going to be their go-to, where introverted thinking is going to try to decide on its own whether or not they think something is correct. It manifests a little bit differently in people with extroverted intuition and introverted sensing than it does in people with extroverted sensing and introverted intuition. So I'm talking about the difference between SFJs, ENT, and NTPs. ESFJ, ISFJ, ENTP, INTP versus ENFJ, INFJ, ESTP, ISTP. Those 8 types, the TPs and the FJs, value introverted thinking in their conscious 4 functions. The function comes out a little bit more forcefully in people with introverted intuition, because introverted intuition draws more of a conclusion than extroverted intuition ever will. So the NTPs and the SFJs will remain a little bit more open-minded on the concept of thinking itself. It can be a little bit weird because they have SI as well, and they can get really mired in things, but they will remain a little bit more like, what if, as opposed to NFJs and STPs, who are more like, no, I can see this with my SE, and my NI is telling me this is how this is going to turn out. So the truth is this, it's right in front of me, this is the action to take. That's a pretty simple way to understand it. You'll read a lot of things that are written by INTPs or ENTPs that would even be validated by SFJs about introverted thinking itself, that in my opinion are really mixed in with extroverted intuition. Like these huge mental mind map concepts that they talk about, or an attraction to complex systems. It's not really TI that's attracting you to complex systems. It's NE that's attracting you to complex systems, merged with TI. TI in of itself is really only about making choices. It's a singular decision-making function for the person, and it's about making choices. It's yes, no, black, white, 1, 0. It's like a binary type thought process, like a toggle switch, off, on. Okay? So, for instance, I'm an ISTP, and I have virtually no interest in complex systems. My brain is wired to simplify everything. Everything that I work on, I constantly say to myself, who designed this? Why is it so complicated? Because my brain seeks to do very precise, specific tasks and wants to be successful at them. I think that explains that pretty well. I'll dive a little deeper into what it is that is the true mechanics of how TI works in my particular type. It's fundamentally what I said, it's kind of like critical thinking. This is why ISTPs often don't talk a lot unless they're with someone that they're comfortable with. Or when they do talk, they're very often regarded by a lot of people as terse or coarse or too direct. And it's because most people don't really have the patience to listen to us talk. We talk slowly, most of us do anyway, and tend to articulate our point in quite a bit of detail. And most people don't want to listen to that because, frankly, it has nothing to do with us being slow or us being monotone or not very animated in speech. What it really is they don't like the critical thinking answer that they're getting. Okay? I've had dozens and dozens of TE users get very angry with me as an introverted thinking type because I tell them that their study that they found is wrong. I'll say, well, that's nice. It's still only the majority of people. Okay? This is the biggest clash that exists in the world is between introverted thinking and extroverted thinking. Extroverted thinking types really don't have a lot of respect for introverted thinking types because our process is singular. It's unfortunate, but it's reality. In terms of how it works in your mind, it's going to be different in the NTPs and SFJs than it is in the STPs and NFJs. Because of the difference between NE and SE, where you have abstraction versus concrete reality, it's like two people using the same alphabet to speak a different language. That's the best way I can describe it. And that's why if you're an STP or an NFJ and you read an introverted thinking description that's written by an NTP or an SFJ, although most SFJs don't give a shit about any of this, you're going to find yourself kind of confused. Some keywords for introverted thinking are clear. That's a big one, clear, no matter what the type is. No matter which type it is that's using the function in their conscious brain, you're going to hear the words clear, clean. If you're talking to an STP or an NFJ who are all direct communicators, you're going to get more specific questions asked of you that are framed in terms of yes or no answers. Like when I ask somebody a question that is one of those other types, they're very often confused. Like I'll say something like, do you want some ice cream? That's a binary answer, yes or no. And then I'll get an answer like, well, are you going to have some? That's not what I asked you. I asked you if you want some ice cream. That's a simple yes or no. Do you want some ice cream? This is one of the many layers of how type works that I shouldn't go too far into in this video, but you'll find a lot of binary questions asked by STPs all the time and by NFJs when they're under a little more pressure in life. NTPs and SFJs, in my experience, don't ask binary questions because they're all informative communicators. And what you will get out of them is much more that they want to tease out the decision by having a debate with you. Like even SFJs will enjoy debating with people just much less than NTPs do. But with them, it's more like they want to win a little argument with you. And in their mind, that proves that their TI conclusion was correct if they win a little argument. Where it's more singularly focused on the other types or more one-on-one focused. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think you got some of the general idea of how the function works. If your first reaction to things is to try to figure it out yourself, that's a good sign that you use introverted thinking. If your first reaction to things is to look for some sourced data or a study or something from someone with some credentials, like to look something up, it's much more likely that you use extroverted thinking. Can anyone look anything up? Sure, I look stuff up all the time. But I only look up things that I have no real information on, no real ability to process. Okay? I hope that makes some sense. It's like if I want to know something about a person that's famous, I don't know it, so I have to look it up. And I can't arrive at a decision on it. Like I can't analyze someone's birthday. Like if I'm curious how old a celebrity is, I can't analyze that by looking at them beyond trying to figure out how old they look to me. If I want to know, I have to look it up. But what I'm talking about is like when you're doing something in life, introverted thinking is more likely to try to figure it out themselves. Extroverted thinking is more likely to look for a procedure or to look for some kind of sourced information. Anyway, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.